So now on to the next part of this video. When this happened, right, it also made me look at myself as a black person, because it's one thing to be like, oh my gosh, white people need to do this, non-white people, non-black people need to do this. It's one thing to do that, but it's like I also had to look at myself and I had to think, what am I doing as a black person to embrace myself? What am I doing to help support my community as a black person? Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Yes, I love my culture and everybody knows that I love Ghana. But what am I doing to help myself and to help my community? And I want to also give this for you guys. If you're Ghanaian, if you're black, if you're African, right? These are the things that you can do as to support your community and to help the cause of. One thing that I think is very important that I can do to help myself as a black person is to love myself. This is the first thing. I need to love myself and to know that my voice matters. For so many years, I thought my voice didn't matter because of what teachers have told me, because of comparison, seeing myself, because of what I saw in the media, because of not seeing other role models that were black and succeeding. I failed to realize that my voice matters. And one thing as a black person you can do is know that your voice matters, your opinion matters, your disagreement matters, your argument matters, your anger matters, your voice matters. This is one thing that you should know. Love yourself as a black person. And one thing here, I had to look a little bit about colonial trauma, because there's this whole slavery, that happened, in Ghana. I mean, Ghanaians and people from Africa, being sent to the Americas and stuff to become slaves. And I realized that I feel like a lot of the ways that we are as Ghanaians, because I can only speak for my Ghanaians, I feel like a lot of the things that we do and a lot of the way that we think about ourselves as Africans, as black people, may come as a result of colonialism. Because of the things that we experience. I mean, it's not easy to be colonized, to have people that are not from your country come in and saying, we are going to colonize your place. Everything you do has to be reported to the British. You cannot do anything without us British people putting the seal on it. Do you think it's easy? And of course, we don't really speak about it, but there was a lot of opposition to colonialism. A lot of people, a lot of African resistance, a lot of resistance when it comes to colonialism. Like, I feel like a lot of the ways that we are as Ghanaians come from like the fact that we're colonized and the fact that our voices was not really heard. When I look at colorism, for example, in Africa and in Ghana as well, which is so there, is like the fairer the better, the fairer the more beautiful you are, which is in a lot of places in Africa and even in Asia. Where is that? I had to think, where does that come from? And I remember, I'll just give you one tiny example. So I just come from Ghana, and I get tanned. Like if I stay in Ghana for a long time, I get tanned. Like I'm just dark, yeah. So I get tanned, which I love. I don't mind. And I remember coming from Ghana from my holiday, and having one person, one auntie, coming up to me and saying, Miriam, Ade, skin, I say, Miriam, what happened to your skin? Your skin is spoiled. She had also come from Ghana, yeah, and her skin is like, was the same, right? And me, I'm someone who gets tanned. Because I got darker, she considered my skin spoiled, okay? It's only when I think back and I'm like, this is actually what I heard. Some of the things I've experienced now is actually mad. So I'm like, when I look at colorism, where does that come from? I know that from doing a bit of research back in slavery times, the thing where the fairer you are as a black person, the closer you were to the white race, and so you were given more maybe favor, or you were considered more white the fairer you are, something like that. This whole notion that the fairer you are, the more beautiful you are, the less Ghanaian or the less black you look, the better you. Where is that coming from? We need to get rid of that mentality, because I see Ghanaians coming up and saying Black Lives Matter, oh George Floyd. Where it's like, do you love yourself as a Ghanaian? Are you okay with being dark? Are you okay with it? And I know a lot of Ghanaians are, a lot of people are, but there are a few people who still consider being fair skinned the better. It's okay to have a preference or whatever, but for you to consider being fair better than being dark, or being fair better than being dark, is a problem. But when I look at, you know, the Tree language, the Ghanaian dialect and English, you know, even till now, you would see musicians and singers and rappers, Ghanaian rappers and singers, being asked by the media and by people, oh, do you know how to speak English? People are laughing and saying that you cannot speak English because you only speak the dialect in your songs. So prove to us that you can speak English. When I look at that mindset, I'm like, where is that coming from? And it might come from the fact that in school in Ghana, English is the language that is used after a few years. I think the first few years is the dialect, but then English is the language that is used. So I think now people think that being able to speak English will translate to how educated you are. And when I look at the movie industry, Chewy industry, the local, you know, the industry, you know, there's the English industry, Ghanaian industry with actors speaking English, and you have the Tree movie industry with Ghanaians speaking Tree and actors only speaking the dialect, right? And for so many years, those who act in movies, in Tree movies, were considered less professional, were seen less as actors because they don't speak English, like the Jackie Apias and the other actors who speak English in movies. Now I look at the clothes. Gifty Auntie, who is a Ghanaian TV presenter, in her book she mentions the fact that when she first started, people were laughing at her because she was wearing Ghanaian beads and traditional wear, and people were laughing at her because as a Ghanaian, why are you on TV wearing African beads? She was very sarcastical in her book, now saying that now is like people are praising her for wearing these African beads, whilst when she started she received a lot of backlash. So when you look at all that, I'm like, where is that coming from? We need to get rid of that mentality. So when I look at beefing, a lot of people say Africans don't support their own. Where is that coming from? Why do we consider, and I've experienced that myself. It's like when a white person comes and is like, oh my gosh. And I remember I have one acquaintance who I have like, I have his number and stuff, and I remember him posting a video of a white person insulting, let me just say insulting Ghanaians and speaking down on Africans and Ghanaians because of the way that they behave, or because of how late they are, or I don't know, just really just laughing at Ghanaians and honestly insulting our culture. And this, my acquaintance who is Ghanaian, shared the message by saying how embarrassing it is for us Ghanaians to be insulted by a white person. We should be ashamed of ourselves, and as Ghanaians we should be ashamed that a white person insulted us. We should change and change our behavior. And I messaged the guy and I told him, You should be ashamed of yourself. Okay, I didn't say that, but I was like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because if you see a person who is not Ghanaian talking about us in such a way, why are you not against that very person who spoke against your own culture? Why do you have to look like our Ghanaians and tell us to change our behaviors instead of being angry at the very stranger who came to insult us? Thinking of this whole conversation about, oh, we are our own worst enemies, and people say it, and I've heard it before about how Ghanaians don't really support each other, or black people sometimes don't support each other. And so when I think about all that, I'm like, this is not really helping our cause, and this is something that we have to think about. Where does that come from? Why do we consider something that is from our own that's not good enough and that's not worth supporting? These last few months I've really thought about what I'm doing to support my people, to support black people, and I've really had to look at myself, and I really had to vow of things that I want to do to support my own people. And of course this whole discussion is, oh, white allies and what those who are not black can do to combat racism and to bring a more inclusive society. But also had to look at myself and think, what can I do as a black person? I want to share that with you guys. So the first thing that I've vowed to do here is support black owned businesses. So of course most of the time when I do my hair, when I do my braids, I go to black owners. Like I go to I don't want to say black shop, but I go to hairdressers, Ghanaian hairdressers, go to Ghanaian like salons and African salons, because they know how to handle my hair better, right? That I've told myself is that I will try my best to not really get discounts, because something I've seen it so many times in terms of discounts. Like we like free things, Ghanaians like free things, and I've had to look at myself and think, what can I do to help my people? And one thing that I should do is to support my own. It shouldn't be difficult for me to spend money and give money to black people that have given me their services. I shouldn't always want to have a discount when I enter into a Ghanaian shop. I shouldn't always want to pay less. I shouldn't always want to pay less because they're Ghanaian and I'm Ghanaian. Why do we feel the need to always ask for discounts when it comes to our own people? And I had to look at myself and I had to honestly tell myself that from now on I will do my best to support black owned businesses. I will give you links, I'll put links on the description about black owned businesses that you can support. You know, we shouldn't always want to, you know, get a discount. The second thing that I think I can do for myself, as I said before, to support my community and to support the cause of black people, is to definitely love myself and love my culture and love my skin tone and love my color and love myself and speak life and greatness to my, if I have kids, when I have kids, to my kids and to my black friends. Of course, you know, I am for all people. As you guys know, I love different cultures. I mean, I love Korean culture, I love eating, I'm a diverse person, but this is a video about black people and about my blackness. So for people coming up and telling me, oh, but what about other races? Don't come and tell me what about what, please, I beg. It's not the time, to be honest. It's actually not the time. So the second thing is, as I said, second thing that I can do, I think, to support my own community and that you can do as a black person as well, is to speak life and greatness to your own people. You can't be like, Black Lives Matter, you Ghanaians going George Floyd, oh George Floyd, and it's like the next minute you go and insult another fellow Ghanaian because of what? Yes, I received comments, but I love myself. I love the way that I am. I love my history because we are resilient as people. Black people are resilient. We are so strong. Even when I look at, you know, my parents who are immigrants and moved, it's like we are strong. Strength is in our genes. And speaking greatness to our people, I think is one thing that we can do as black people. If you hear somebody who is insulting your fellow Ghanaians, or if it's insulting your fellow black people for no apparent reason, don't just be there and just laugh. Stand up for your people. So we don't always get that. So I think one thing that we can do is definitely support our own. The third thing that I think is actually very pivotal and very important and life-changing to do, and that I have been doing and I'm currently still doing, is doing research. But it's been painful as well, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It's made me angry a little bit. I don't know if that's how I'm supposed to feel, but it's made me angry when I look at the history of of black people in the US, or I look at Ghana. Lately I've been doing research on colonialism, how it was back then, and how Ghana pre-colonialism, and it makes me angry, to think about the times, how it was. And I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but it's like, one thing you can do is searching about your history as a black person, as a Ghanaian. But another thing I will tell you is that our story is not just about colonialism. There's much more to us than pain. Of course, it's important to look at, if you want to know why things are happening, it's important to look at what has caused protests and stuff. But as a black person, one thing that you could do is research, but not just about colonialism or slavery or oppression. Research black people, black pioneers, people that have honestly black innovators. There are so many of them. Even when it comes to education, in Europe we have a very Eurocentric education. A lot of things they don't tell us when it comes to Egyptians, when it comes to even this image of Jesus as being a man with blue eyes and pointed nose. Jesus was never, I don't think Jesus had blue eyes and Jesus had white skin like that. The guy was from Israel. Our Jesus was from Israel. When you look at Israel people who are from Israel, they don't have blue eyes anyway. I don't even get into that. But when you look at the way that we've been taught, there's so much undoing to do. There's so much to do. Like, black people have contributed so much smart individuals who are black, and even in the midst of oppression, even in the midst of chaos, even in the midst of discrimination, they still succeeded, and they still innovate, they still created, contributed, who have created the things that we see, that we touch. It will just blow your mind, and it will inspire you to know that, wow, if they could do this in their times, I can definitely do more. Or if they could do this and they're black and they look like me too, I can do more. And also, when you research from a pure perspective. I think it's very important to not search to be angry, because some of the things that you will learn will not be sweet, but make sure that it doesn't develop anger. Make sure that you learn to educate yourself, but not to be angry. Just know that your voice matters, and just don't be afraid. Anyways, I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. Let's support our own people. Little by little, things will improve. I believe it. And my heart is for you guys. I'll put everything in the description box of where you can donate, what you can do, where you can start with. But it's an ongoing learning process. Even me myself, I'm still learning. I'm still learning about my history. I'm still learning about what I can do. There's so much learning to do, there's so much research to do, and there's so much action to be made. And so I thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. And my podcast as well, I have a few episodes. I have episodes coming up talking about race, interviewing different people to share their journey when it comes to race, and look forward to it, because I'll also post it on YouTube when it's there. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. God bless you. Bye.